Football, constant football, every few days, Man United playing. But yes, we're back in action again on Sunday, this time in the Premier League, and this time against Aston Villa on a weekend where I tell you what, we are going to gain some points on our rivals. And we should be gaining some points on our rivals, and we will be gaining some points on our rivals if we beat Villa. But it's Unai Emery's first game. They've had 4-0 results either way, a win and a defeat in their last two games. Don't really know what to expect of Villa. United going into this game, Bruno suspended. Will Martial be fit? Will Antony be back? What about Sancho? There are so many questions. I'm going to try and run through all of it in my preview and starting 11 video here today. So make sure you please drop a like on it if you do enjoy it. And let's run through the team news that we know. Take a look at these weekend's Premier League fixtures and have a discussion about all the key points and all the key starting 11 points, because I think there's a lot to discuss when it comes to midfield and attack. Let's go into the team news. This is what Ten Hag said after the game against Real Sociedad when he was asked about Anthony Martial, Jadon Sancho and Antony. He said, "It's difficult to say in this moment. I have to talk with the medical and the performance team as they did a program in Manchester. I have to hear how their progress was and if they can be available for Sunday's match. Staying tight-lipped on it, Manchester United stayed out in Real Sociedad and they trained there today before they fly back on Friday evening. Let's find out if they're fit. We won't know if they're fit until Sunday comes. So in the starting 11, I'm going to take a look at options with and without all three of them." He was also asked about the back line, and particularly Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire. And he's saying, look, I have to think about it. I have to see, because Villa is going to be a difficult one as we don't really know what's going to be happening. And he said that he's happy with the partnership of Victor Lindelof and Lisandro Martinez, and he's also happy with Maguire and Lisandro Martinez. He's basically giving nothing away there, really. But this is why United have to come and bring their A game this weekend. Chelsea are playing Arsenal and Spurs are playing Liverpool. In an ideal dream situation, that's 2 draws right there, and everybody drops 2 points. And we play Aston Villa, who, as I said, in the last 2 games, have had a 4-0 win and a 4-0 defeat. They really have no idea who they are. Now, Unai Emery will be able to make them a better team, but will he be able to make the team the impact? You can get the new manager bounce, it happens. I hope it doesn't happen here, but United have got to bring their A game. Let's take a look at our starting 11 that played Real Sociedad, and there's no doubt that there will be changes. Of course, because Bruno Fernandes is suspended. Van der Beek, I'll be surprised if he gets a starting place, but because Bruno's out, we've got to have that discussion. Will Garnacho keep his place? What about the back 5? Will Maguire come back in? And what about the midfield? Now, when it comes to the defence, I mean, you're going to change it as little as possible at the moment. 6 clean sheets in our last 7 games. Martinez, I'm running out of things to say. I'm running out of compliments to give him. But consistency every single week is phenomenal. From a man who was criticised and doubted before he'd even kicked the ball simply because of his height. That's lazy punditry for you. And it's just shit, really. But all of them, look, all 3 players in that photo, Dalot, De Gea, Martinez, they've all been sensational. If there was room for Luke Shaw in that photo, I'd probably put him in there too. Now, in my opinion, I think that back 5 doesn't change. That back 5 there that played against Real Sociedad is the same back 5 I want to see. I want to see Victor Lindelof play there and not Harry Maguire. Yes, Harry Maguire did have a good second half against West Ham, but Manchester United in that game, backs against the wall. We were sat really deep, and that's where it kind of aids, and that's probably where you're going to get a bit more out of Maguire. Well, you're certainly not going to get much out of him playing him up front alongside Cristiano Ronaldo. I hope we never have to see that again. But I think that back 5 will stay exactly as it is. De Gea's bang on form at the moment right now. Dalot, sensational. We need that threat, and I don't know who his right-wing partner is going to be on Sunday, because there really are just questions everywhere about every single one of our attacking positions. But I think the opposite can be said about our defence. There's basically no questions, really, apart from who partners Martinez. And in my opinion, it's a bit of a mute conversation. Lindelof is a better defender to play with a higher line than Harry Maguire. We're playing with a higher line. Maguire stays in that team. That's my opinion. And I love Lisandro Martinez. I just had to get that in there. But let's move on to midfield. And as I said, the whole midfield and the whole attack, it's very hard to predict what we're going to shape up as against Aston Villa, because Bruno Fernandes, all we know is that Bruno's out of this game. So Bruno's off there. And then there's question marks about every other position. What happens to Christian Eriksen? Because on paper, kind of a straightforward way to solve this situation. We've got to take Van der Beek off there. Eriksen goes further up the pitch, and Fred comes in there. Now that could easily happen. You could see Fred coming in. I mean, alternatively, you could technically do this. I mean, but I do not want to see it. I can't remember what game it was. Was it Newcastle? I can never remember what game it was. Fred played in the number 10 role once, and it was absolutely abysmal. If Fred's going to play, Fred's going to play there. I don't want to see Fred playing in that role. Simply put, he's just not cut out for it. He doesn't have the craft. So I think it's going to probably be between Eriksen and probably be between Fred in playing that role. Now, it could be Van der Beek. Now, I don't think it should be Van der Beek. But Ten Hag, speaking after the game, he still praised Van der Beek, said, look, he had a good preseason. Then he was injured. I think he did okay against Sociedad. I know he can be better bringing the ball forward and bringing more of a threat. I don't think we see that chance coming here against Aston Villa. That's just what my gut instinct is telling me. I think we're far more likely to see Christian Eriksen going further forward than we are to see Fred going further forward. So that would be my midfield three. With Bruno Fernandes out of the game, no Bruno is going to be, I still find it odd how many people criticize, massively criticize Bruno Fernandes, but kind of it is, we'll miss him this weekend. We no doubt will miss him. But taking a look at this team, of course, there's one gap on the right-hand side. But there's just questions about every single position and about availability of all these players. You can't actually see all these players down here. Let me bring them over there. Anthony, there you go. All of them. Because I think in attack, in the same way that the attack is kind of all going to be shaped by the midfield, is going to all be shaped by Bruno's absence. I think the whole attack. Oh, camera decided to play up there. It's doing it again. I think it's a power surge. It's really annoying me because I've got a new extension cable. I was hoping that was going to fix it. Next thing I've got to try and sort. Anyway, back to the video. Martial. I think our whole attack is basically shaped by whether Martial is fit or not. Because if Martial is fit, I imagine we'll see this. I imagine we'll see Martial start through the middle. I imagine we'll see Marcus Rashford start on the left-hand side. And again, depending on fitness, we don't know whether or not this man's going to be in there. But if Anthony's in there, Anthony comes in on that right-hand side. And you're looking at that as a front three. Rashford on the left, Martial through the middle, and Anthony on the right. That's seriously exciting. A lot of movement, a lot of dynamism, very fluid. That could work. Now, of course, what happens if Martial isn't fit? And that, I think, is where Garnacho comes in. And my guess is that Martial isn't going to be fit to start this game. So my guess is that this is probably going to be the starting 11 that we see. I think you're going to see Rashford start through the middle. I think you're going to see Ronaldo drop to the bench. And I think you're going to see Garnacho start on that right-hand side. Left-hand side, sorry, not right-hand side. Garnacho has earned it, man. Earned it through that second performance. Building on the Sheriff performance. Doing that against Sociedad. Cracking goal, man. Cracking goal. That's what the manager wants. And he delivered. And I think if we're looking at players who should be playing on that left-hand side, Jadon Sancho, even if he's fit, I think right now on form, and Ten Hag does his, he chooses his players on trust and form. I think Garnacho gets a nod on the left-hand side. Now, if Anthony isn't fit, that'll be a blow. No doubt it will be a blow. But I don't think we'll do anything crazy. Obviously, we have Bruno on the right wing against Sociedad. I imagine it'll be a simpler thing that happens here. I imagine you'll probably see Anthony Elanga come in. Now, he doesn't have that attacking threat, but he does have the movement and the pace. And that is a front three. It's dynamic. There's a lot of energy. That's a lot of pressing that we can do from the front. Now, Eriksen's not going to be pressing too much from that number 10 position. So technically, you could, if you played Fred there, you'd have a more aggressive press. Yeah, it's kind of... It all depends, really, on the fitness of individuals because we don't know whether Martial is going to be fit or not. So therefore, we don't know whether Rashford's going to play through the middle or not. Because if Martial is fit, then I think Rashford plays out on the left. And I think Garnacho drops to the bench. But we've just... I don't know. I think I'm just getting accustomed to the fact that I don't think Martial will be fit. But who would be in your starting 11? As I said, one player I don't think gets in there is Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo goes on the bench. I think we are a more cohesive team without him in it. And I've seen enough evidence to prove that's the case. And that's an opinion of mine. I know some of you will disagree with that. And I don't hold that against you. But I've seen enough evidence to suggest, yeah, we're definitely a better cohesive team without him in it. And I stand by that. Ronaldo coming off the bench, I reckon he can have an absolute impact. So I'm going to bring him in there. Of course, I would like him to come off from the bench if we need him. But I imagine if Martial's not fit, that's the front three. Rashford through the middle with Langa and Garnacho, depending on Anthony's fitness as well. If Anthony's fit, of course he goes in there. So in an ideal situation, you're probably looking at that. I would say that's if Anthony's fit, I think he will start. And then, as I said, if Martial's fit, I reckon Garnacho. Now, you might say that he's going to be hard done by, but Rashford's banging form, and Martial is the number 9 that Ten Hag's been wanting to play with all season long. So if they're all available, that will be our front 3. And look at that. That's exciting as hell. But who would get in your team? My gut tells me that Martial won't be fit, and we'll see Garnacho start. And we'll see Rashford through the middle. But if they're all fit, look at that as a front 3. Where would you play Ericsson? Where would you play Fred? You let me know in the comments below. And make sure you subscribe to United People's TV if you're new. And my prediction for the game. I think I might go for 2-0. I think I'm going to go for a 2-0 United. Just the way our defence is playing at the moment, it's so solid. Casemiro's added a massive new edge to this team. It's just new steel, everything. It's amazing. And we're playing so good defensively. I trust this team to keep a clean sheet, especially up against Unai Emery in his first game. You don't know what to expect of this Villa side, which is dangerous. But also United had to see that as an advantage. And on a weekend where, as I said, our rivals are playing, Chelsea playing Arsenal and Spurs playing Liverpool, United have got to go. We're in such good momentum right now. The season's about to end. A bit like my video camera. How annoying. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Anyway, I suppose that's a good point to end the video. I'm going for 2-0. That's my starting 11. You can let me know whether you agree with it in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to United People's TV if you're new. Boop.